So today I'm going to make for you guys, I'm also going to be using squash, but I'm going to be using butternut squash instead of yellow squash and zucchini. I'm going to be making it's kind of a stir fry. It's green beans, tofu, and butternut squash stir fry. And it has a nice little soy sauce, honey type of sauce that kind of brings it all together. It brings out the sweetness of the butternut squash, the savoriness of the soy sauce. And it's a really, really good meal, easy lunch, easy dinner to bring us into hopefully getting a little bit cool, hopefully going into a little bit of a cooler weather. So I have my pan that is heating right now. I'm going to just put a little bit of olive oil in the pan. And then I think I spoke to you guys about this. But we always want to put in our more fibrous vegetables first. So what's going to be the hardest? So we have the butternut squash that's going to go in first. We want that to cook down a little bit so that it just a little bit gets nice and soft. We don't need it to get really, slightly browned, which is typically how I like to get it. What I like to get it to, but we're going to let it just cook a little bit, let it soften a little bit. If you want to kind of start that off in the oven, you can. I didn't do that this time. They actually just came, the butternut squash just came, so I didn't have time to do it. But what I did do is I did kind of I drained the tofu, and then I did put the tofu in the oven for about 15 minutes on 350, just to kind of harden it up a bit. Sometimes tofu can be a little bit soft and it gets a little bit messy over the pan. So I just wanted to kind of firm it up a little bit. You'll see it's not really cooked, but it kind of, I guess, took out some more of the water, some more of the liquid. So it just firmed it up a bit, which is going to make it a little bit easier to work with on the stove. So we have the butternut squash that's cooking really nicely. The next thing we're going to do is put in our green beans. So we're going to put in our green beans. We're going to cook that together as well, really nicely. I love the colors of this, and I'm going to show it to you. I just like even just the colors of these two together. It's such a nice, colorful dish to go into the fall months. I think color is super important. I think it makes things look more appetizing and enticing, and more likely that people will be interested in eating it. So before we put in the tofu, I'm going to kind of let this cook down a little bit. And then I'm going to put together our sauce while this is cooking. And by the way, all of this can cook to your liking, right? It doesn't need necessarily, some people like their green beans a little bit harder. That's fine. So you're just sauteing a bit to get that bite out a bit. But you can really cook it to however you like it. The squash already is getting a bit softer. So this is looking really good. So what we're going to do is we're going to take a little bit of soy sauce. So it's going to be about a tablespoon of soy sauce. And that's also going to help things cook down a little bit faster because there's some liquid in there. So that will allow the vegetables to steam really nicely. So we put some soy sauce in there, kind of let that sit in there a little bit. And then we're going to put about a teaspoon or two of honey. And the honey, again, is going to kind of bring out the sweetness, let's say, of the butternut squash. Just a little bit more honey in there. It's going to bring out the sweetness of the butternut squash. And just make the sauce also a little bit thicker. It kind of thickens up that soy sauce a little bit. It makes it a little bit more of like a sauce, almost like a teriyaki sauce consistency. Smells really, really good already. Our vegetables are already browned. The honey will help caramelize them a little bit, and I'm going to show that to you. Here, I'll show that to you now. They kind of caramelize really nicely. I don't know if you can see that, but they caramelize really, really nicely. Alone just from the soy sauce and the honey already. So, kind of going to let that sit. The sauce is already thickening up more. By the way, you can add more soy sauce, more honey. If you want to make it a little bit saucier, you can. And then I'm going to add a little bit, again, before the tofu, I'm going to add a little bit of salt. We don't need so much salt because we have the soy sauce in there. So we don't want it to be too salty. And then just a little bit of pepper. kind of mix that up again a little bit. The last thing we're going to do is add in our tofu because, again, we did cook it. We did cook the tofu in the oven a bit. So there's no need to really add the tofu until the end to kind of mix things together. And then the last thing we're going to do here is just add in our tofu. And we're going to mix it up to kind of incorporate the sauce a bit. It's such a nice looking dish. The tofu right away is getting the sauce nicely, is getting coated really nicely in the sauce. I'm going to put a little bit in a bowl so I can show it to you. But it looks really just so good already. I'm going to put it in a bowl and I'm going to show it to you. Really cooked really, really quickly. Again, the squash is pretty soft already. It's definitely fork tender. The green beans, one just slipped away. The green beans are a little bit on the harder side, but I don't mind that because I don't mind the bite of that. I'm gonna put a little bit in a bowl here. I'll show you what this looks like. And that is going to be it. And that is a meal because we got protein here. We got protein both in the green beans and also in the tofu, obviously. These are two really great plant-based proteins. And then we got also the butternut squash, so we got really great nutrients in there as well. And this is it.
Looks delicious.
The whole thing.
That looks great.
It smells really good too. So
the honey and the soy sauce.
Yes.
Yeah, I can imagine. It definitely looks great.